It is a wet, miserable, cold, nasty day in Central Texas, which makes it a perfect day to go spot and stalk some pigs. So I'm at a ranch where they say there's a bunch of pigs. It's pretty cold and gross out here, but I think that may actually be an advantage today. It's still enough that I'm not gonna have to worry about the wind too much, and it's just kind of spitting rain out here, so that actually may kind of help cover my sound as long as I'm not, too loud sloshing through mud puddles. But because it's cold and nasty out here, I'm not running any good cameras. I'm just self-filming on the GoPro and Tacticam if I get a shot. So just kind of running gun setup today, but let's see if we can get out there, get it done with the bow.
I started on the downwind side of the property, moving into the wind, looking for tracks and of course pigs. I found a bunch of signs, so I knew as long as I moved carefully and quietly with the wind in my face, it would only be a matter of time till I was able to locate some pigs.
They tend to like these little creeks and low areas, especially where it's real thick. There's a little bit of wind now, so I'm trying to mind the wind a little bit. All right, I found them. There's a little road here, and then right across the road, I see a pretty good sized group of them. They're kind of feeding this way.
I quietly moved in on the group of foraging pigs, walking carefully and slowly. They were foraging in some thick scrub oaks, so while I was able to get within my comfortable range of these pigs, it was just far too thick for a shot. So I wanted to get as close as I could without spooking them and wait, hoping that they came my direction, out of the thicket. They gradually moved a little bit closer. You can see them here in front of me, but they were still in the thick brush. I sat there and watched them for quite a while, hoping that they would come my way, right down this trail in front of me. After watching for a while, I noticed that instead of coming my way, they kept moving off to the left. I was able to take a long loop, circle around, and try to find them again. I'm not sure if they ever heard or saw me, but they started picking up the pace and moving away from me. Fortunately, they were moving into the wind, and so was I, so I was able to just stay behind them and slowly and carefully follow this group. Apparently there was one straggler sleeping in this brush pile, because when I walked up to it, he spooked and ran out like crazy. I kept moving into the wind and I was able to move in on the sound of roaming hogs. This time they were more in the open, but a little bit out of my effective range. While I practice out to 50 and 60 yards, I try to keep shots on hogs within about 40 yards. They can be thick-skinned, and especially in the winter when their fur is long, they can be really tough. I tried to gradually move in for a closer shot. I'm not sure if they ever heard or saw me, or just were a little bit uncomfortable because they started moving in the other direction. They weren't hard spooked and frantic, but they just seemed a little bit uncomfortable and kept moving as I was moving. I could see one clearly and I pulled out my rangefinder, hoping it was close enough for a shot, but it was still about 50 yards. I moved parallel to the group of moving pigs, but stayed slightly downwind of them. I approached a spot where I knew they would have to cross the trail and come out in the open. Instead of slowing down through the opening, they hustled to get through there as quickly as possible. I came to full draw, but unfortunately none of the pigs slowed down long enough for a shot. They sprinted across that gap pretty quickly. I then continued to follow the group until they reached a thicker clump of trees. Seems like they were more comfortable in this thicker area and they started slowing down and spending more time kind of browsing and foraging a little bit. I posted up here, still downwind of them, waiting for one of them to come out of the thicket. Eventually, a dark-colored piglet and a medium light-colored hog came out around 35 yards. I knew this was going to be the closest thing I had to a decent shot, so I went ahead and drew and waited for just a slightly clearer opportunity. The lighter-colored pig stepped right between my pins. I heard the smack of the mechanical broadhead open up on the hide of the pig, but I was worried that it was a little bit of a high shot, right into the scapula. As soon as I had knocked another arrow, all the spooked piglets started running out of the brush about 25 yards from me.
Alright, so I got up on that group of them, and they started getting real nervous, and I ended up following them for quite a while. Finally, it was real thick the whole time, and finally I got to a spot where I could just barely thread the needle, and there was a medium-sized sow, a light-colored one, that popped out, and I shot it, hit it, I think maybe a little bit high. I saw the arrow in the pig. I don't think it was a pass-through, but then they all took off running, and I shot a little one as well. The little one, it was a clean pass-through, a little far back just because it was running. My lead wasn't enough, but I found that pig. Pig's right here. So there's a little one. Now I just gotta figure out where the heck did that bigger one go. It's not much. These little ones actually taste pretty good. And this is one that I can probably just skin and throw in the grill whole. Now you can see I hit it a little back, but not a big target. Anyway, found that guy. Gotta go find the other one.
As I tracked the larger pig, my suspicion was confirmed when I found the arrow and just a tiny bit of blood. I think I had hit the pig right in the shoulder blade, and that sow had simply shook the arrow right out. As I kept moving along, I actually located the group of pigs again on the other side of a swampy, boggy area. I carefully stalked up on the pigs once more. This time the wind was perpendicular to me and the pig, so it wasn't obviously in my favor. I was hoping to find the same sow again and put another arrow in her, but if I found another pig, that would do as well.
I spotted a whole bunch of pigs down in this little bog. They're eating all these tree nuts. All these nuts falling down from these trees. They were standing here eating them all, and I kept having to sneak closer and closer. I snuck all the way across all that. Creepy crawled through the mud. But they were generally working away from me. I don't know if they were wise to me or just moving that way. But there was one coming in, and she was just about to cross this fence. So I had to let it fly before she crossed the fence. And I heard a smack. I heard the broadhead open up. And I think I was right behind the shoulder, but it happened real quick, so it was kind of hard to tell. But I'm gonna go look at the broadhead, see what I can learn from that. Well, found the arrow. Broadhead did open up. And there's blood all the way back on the arrow. So I think that means it's a complete pass-through. I think either I hit this wire, there's a piece of wire sitting here. Either I hit it after it went through the pig, or the pig ran into that wire. But it seemed like a decent hit on the pig, so let's see if we can start finding some blood. Well, I found some blood up to about 200 yards from where I shot the pig, which means that pig's already gone a ways, and even the blood out here is still very, very spotty. So I'm calling it. We can go back to that little one I took down earlier, and then if I don't see anything else, get that one cleaned up and start heading out. Well, I know this was a super random adventure, and it was a pretty yucky day to do it, but I enjoy, you know, after deer season's done, getting out and trying to kill some pigs just to put a little bit more meat in the freezer between seasons. So hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, stay safe, be free, and never stop seeking adventure.